Hello, everyone. Welcome. It's Friday night. If you're seeing this stream, hello, hello, hello. Good afternoon. First off, it's Friday. So if you're joining us, super grateful to have you here. I want to go ahead and jump right in. Today, we are having a Tea Up Cares conversation on time rich is the new rich. And I know some of you are asking, like, what the heck is Tea Up Cares? What is Tea Up Cares initiatives? Well, first off, we're starting with some really, really, really good conversations. And the Tea Up Cares initiative is created to connect people that have been overlooked and underrepresented with the education, tools, and resources to change their financial and economic situation. And my name is Jasmine Stiff the Pretty Plug. I'm going to be bringing so many people here to talk to you all about changing your financial and economic situation. And we didn't want to start in 2023. We want to start now. So before I go more into me, I want to introduce today's guest that is going to be a part of the Tom Rich is the New Rich series, none other than Nicolette Nathan and Alan Bean. So Nicolette, tell the people who you are, what you do, and why you do it.
Hello, everybody. My name is Nicolette Nathan, and I am a financial strategist and financial educator, and and also a little smidget of real estate investing. But I really love helping people, and I really just want to inspire others to not be broke and to have abundance mindsets.
Yes, yes, we love that for you. Come on, shout out to Nicolette and tell the people where you from.
Um, I grew up in Dallas, Texas.
Come on, D-Town in the house. And you know something? We love a well-balanced panel. We like the men and the women. We have Mr. Allen Bean. Mr. Allen, tell the people who you are, what you do, and why you do it.
Hi, good evening, everybody. Alan Bean. I'm a real estate developer and also a general contractor based in Portland, Oregon. And I like to get together and build communities, both literally and socially. And also, like Nicolette, I like to educate, inspire other people to get their time back and be able to do what they want to do. I'm sorry, be able to do what they be able to do things because they want to do it, not because they have to do it. So, have freedom of time. Yep.
That's good. And Mr. Bean, where are you from?
She said, "Where are you from, Mr. Bean?"
They said, yeah, I'm having some problems with my audio. Sorry, guys.
Oh, she said, "Where are you from?"
Oh, originally I'm from the big metropolis of Kalamazoo, Michigan, in the mighty Midwest.
Okay, that's amazing, y'all. So I'm gonna drop Mr. Bean for just a second. Mr. Bean, I'm gonna see if you can fix your audio. So just give me 1 second. Hold on. I'm just getting him to fix his audio. 1 second, y'all. I'm gonna bring him back up. Yeah, it's definitely Mr. Bean in the audio. It's Mr. Bean in the audio. So I am getting him to fix his audio really quickly. I don't know if he needs to get off of the Wi-Fi. Maybe get off Wi-Fi. But it's like giving this water sound. And I'm like, what in the heck is that? Like, imagine live streams that have water. All right. Well, while we wait for Mr. Bean to come on, I'm originally from Palm Bluff, Arkansas. I am now living in Dallas, Texas. And for the longest time, I built my brand off of motivating, educating, and inspiring people to be all they're called to be simply by walking by faith and launching their gold. Their gold is the gifts that only the Lord delivers. And I do that under my name, Jazz the Pretty Plug. So the reason why I do have supporters across the internet is because I'm really good at content and creating content and bringing people that have fruit and information that can help you change your situation. So T Up Cares has an initiative where we are all about giving that change and giving that information. And I'm just going to check on Mr. Bean just one more time. All right, let's see. Is it better now?
Yes, a little better. I can hear you guys. Thanks.
Okay. Are you off of the Wi-Fi or are you on the Wi-Fi?
No, I was on my cell. I had to the Wi-Fi turned off, so I switched it to Wi-Fi. So
Okay. Do you still hear that sound, Nicolette?
Yeah.
I
Try to
still
turn
hear
it off.
that.
It was better. It was better when you, or is it the way he has it propped up?
Maybe hold it in your hand, Mr. Bean. Okay, talk now.
all right, can you hear me?
Yes, that sound is still happening.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on.
That's crazy.
Turn your Wi-Fi off. See if that helps.
Okay.
We're just in a journey. And you know what? Shout out to everybody that launches things on the internet and it takes a little bit to get it off the ground and you're just seeing when things don't always work right, it's okay. Mr. Reed, I think it's something going on with the audio. I really do. All right. So I'm gonna ask you your first question, Nicolette, while Mr. Bean gets that together because I have never heard of such a noise in my life. So, Nicolette, what does it mean to be time rich?
To me, being time rich means that you have enough income coming in that you don't have to necessarily like scrape the ground for, and you've set up the foundations for this income to just come in on its own, in a sense, and that way you are free to do whatever you want and you don't have to be afraid that, oh, if I don't go to work or if I get fired, like, I'll lose everything or won't be able to pay my bills. So I think being time rich just means that your time is literally yours. Like what you do with your time, you are free to do whatever you want with your time.
I love that. And one of the things that I know when it comes to financial freedom, a lot of people think about financial freedom in so many ways, which means somebody may say, I just want my time. I want to have ownership of my time. And, when you are going to work or have a 9 to 5, your time is given to someone else. That does not mean you're a slave. That doesn't mean you're the worst person ever. This is not a bashing session for 9 to 5ers, but it is just a concept of what would it look like if you could determine what your 24 hours look like, if you could give yourself vacations, if you could give yourself what 2 to 3 months off when it comes to maternal care and spending time with your family. I think that's also what, just to add to your conversation of what it means to be time rich. While we wait for Mr. Bean, what are some sacrifices that must be made before you can be time rich?
You definitely have to work hard, for sure. Like, a lot of the gurus, fake gurus, especially on, social media, they'll say like, oh, Amazon FBA store, no work, just make money, make $100,000 a month. Like, a lot of people are advertising the like get rich. I don't even want to call it get rich quick. I want to call it get rich easy. Like getting rich or getting the money that you want to live your lifestyle. You don't have to be those quote unquote rich for that, but it takes work. Like it takes time, it takes planning. So you may have to sacrifice your short-term goals, like you might have to miss out on your best friend's birthday trip this year, but next year you'll be closer to where you want to be and you can go on some birthday trips. But like a lot of people don't want to sacrifice in the short term to gain in the long term. So I definitely think that just sacrificing like short term satisfaction for like your long term well being.
I love that. Mr. Bean, can you give us a hey if you're here?
Hey, what's up, everybody?
Right, we're good to go. Let's go. Oh my gosh, that was such a journey. So the two questions that we've been asking and answering is what does it mean to time rich? So Mr. Bean, what does it mean to be time rich for you?
So, what it means for me is just the ability to be able to do things when I want to be able to prioritize things the way that I want to, and also being an engineer, as far as a background, designed my life the way that I wanted, and to support myself, my family, my community, with my time and energy. And so, I mean, that's something very powerful because once you get your health, having your time is like the second biggest thing because you can't get it back, you can't produce more, and so as a moment passes, it'll never come back. So to have the ability to be able to live your life by design with those that you care about around you is really really important. And so I take I take a lot of pride in being able to do things in a way that provides the income that I need that comes in while I'm sleeping.
That's good. And what sacrifices did you make or should one make in order for them before they can have or be time rich?
Okay. I mean, let's face it, we live in a W-2 world. We live in a world where it's more employees than it is entrepreneurs, so to speak. And so one of the sacrifices that you have to make is, I know I did, is I had to trade my time in terms of like uh, for a paycheck and be tied to somebody else's dream or be making somebody else's vision a reality instead of my own. And that was a huge sacrifice, being a visionary or having that entrepreneurial mindset. You want to create and then grow things so that you can enjoy them, but then also so you could use the revenue or the money that you get from it to be able to take care of your basic living expenses so that you have more time available to do what you want. So the sacrifice is sometimes you have to tie into this system until you can break yourself free and get out the matrix.
Wow. And so I think Nicolette and Alan, y'all bring two very unique perspectives to the table because you all dibble and dabble in not only the workforce and myself as well, but you also have learned about like real estate investings and like, investing in different currencies and just like how you all see understanding trading your time, but then also getting your time back. So the next question is, what are some of the false narratives about being time rich? Like, yes, we can talk about, I'm getting my money, but like, what are the false narratives? Like, what are the things that people are saying, but it doesn't really make sense?
Mr. Bean, I'll let you go first on this one.
Okay, all right. Um, I guess one of the big things that people are saying about being time rich is the different vehicles that you have access to. And so, probably one of the big false narratives is that you can't really see the way to get your time back if you still have an employee mindset. So, a lot of people are just coming from the perspective of, you go to college, you get a good education, you come out, you get a job, and you kind of work your way up the corporate ladder, and then the time that you have available is at retirement. So one of the huge false narratives is, yeah, you could work 20 or 30 years, but then at the end of that point, what are you going to do to enjoy it? Because you're like way past your prime, you know what I mean? And so one of the huge false narratives is that, I mean, you can kind of do things the way that you are, and then, I'm sorry, do things to retire early, maybe invest minimally to accelerate your retirement, but not to replace the income that you get from like a W-2 type job with an income that is more passive, that maybe you have to spend a fraction of the time to make sure things are moving along as expected versus the majority of your time growing it. So, and then one of the false narratives is that where do you get the revenue from? So it's true, you have to like um, cut down on your means and kind of reduce your lifestyle a little bit so that you have money to invest to be able to make the transition. And then also there'll be times where you kind of mentioned the forex or the foreign exchange currency. That takes some time, but that is a revenue generator. So the purpose of that is you generate the revenue to take to invest passively in a rental property, in a absentee owner cash flowing small business, or any or as a, or you invest as like a venture capitalist or something like that. So there are things that you'll still do to spike the revenue that will take some time, but it's what you're doing with that revenue to be able to get your time back by providing for all of your needs passively. Does that answer the question?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right.
What about you, Nicolette? What are some false narratives that you've gotten about being time rich?
False narratives I've gotten definitely. Um, it, like when it gets back to the, the fake gurus or the like enticing advertisements and all that, like that promise you like, oh, get rich, like, like, oh, just start a drop shipping store or start this or start that, and like they tell you like, oh, I already did it for you, you just sign up and you get paid, and you're paying them like thousands of dollars when you could have put that thousands of dollars into your own business that you are trying to start. So I mean, I think like discernment is very good when it comes to like the avenues that you need to take to get to being time rich. And I think like the biggest investment you can make is in yourself. However, you need to make sure that the return will be worth it, and that is something that you enjoy, and that is something that actually will generate a return, and not something that you like just think is gonna like just get you some money really quick. Now I mean, obviously there's careers that people have, because they provide money, they don't necessarily care too much for it. And if you are already in the career and you are getting your money, like, and you don't care for that, it's okay. Just save your money up, and there are things that you can do, such as like invest in rental properties, invest in short-term rentals, invest in the stock, people invest in the stock market, people do forex trade, like, but there's definitely different things that you can do, even starting your own business. Like if you really genuinely like love lip gloss, and you love, I know a lot of people have like lash companies. Obviously be, you can be unique and start whatever company you want. There's so many companies out here, tech companies, all types of things, apps. People even sell like presets on Adobe for people to edit their pictures. So there's like so many things you can sell on like Etsy and stuff to like generate revenue. Digital products are a really big thing, because you can just keep selling them, and you don't have to sit there and make any individual one, or you can make it, you made it one time and then it's there. Now you may have to pay for like the hosting of the website or like things like that, but as far as like continuously making one thing, you don't always have to do that depending on the digital product. But yeah.
I like that. I think something that I heard that came from you, Nicolette, is whatever you're passionate about, you can start to make money in, or invest your time in it. But also, like, don't just fall for the okey doke. Like,
Yeah.
okay, you give me thousands of dollars. That does not guarantee success.
No.
Hear us out. No matter what commercial that you see on YouTube, Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, of somebody telling you, you pay me X amount, you'll get X amount, all of it's going to require work. And for me, what I think when it comes to being time rich is that if you work and you put in the time, there will be a season where all the time that you put in, you will be able to reap a harvest on that, right? So if you spend all your 20s playing, ain't no way your 30s about to be easier. If you spend all your 20s grinding and putting something out there, putting the seeds in the ground, you should begin to see a harvest. You should begin to see some of the plants that's coming up. Let's take one or two steps back. We know now being time rich is understanding like you're making your time work for you. Maybe it's some direct deposits coming in while you're sleeping. Maybe you've turned a business into some income. Now let's shift the narrative. How does my mindset have to be in order for me to even begin to think that being time rich is possible? What does my mindset have to be in order for me to even think that being time rich, time positive is possible?
So your mindset, you definitely have to, first of all, believe that you can do it. And you also need to visualize like what lifestyle, like everybody's time rich lifestyle looks different. Like one person's time rich lifestyle may be like they get to spend summers with their kids when they're out of school, and another person's might be they get to travel the world. So one person's might want to solo travel. Like everybody, and some people might not want to travel at all, they just want to sit at home and relax and watch TV. Like nothing wrong with that. Like so visualizing what you want to do when you're time rich, and then you need to understand the amount of income you need per month in order to do those things. And then you also need to make sure that you can sustain those things. So like one thing in retirement, when people do retire, some people have to keep working even though they're retirement age, because they don't have enough saved to sustain their bills and their priorities even after they leave their job for retirement. So just making sure that you plan ahead, so that way when it's your goal, when whatever time you set for yourself for your goals, in order to be like, I'm gonna start living my dream here this year, like make sure that you plan properly for that. And you also have to work hard. Like for example, like you know, back to the courses. Like courses are not bad, but like some of them are foolishness, but some of them are genuinely good. Like me and Jasmine actually are in the same one of the same courses that I bought like a long time ago, and she bought it a while ago too. And Jasmine did the course. She executed everything in the course, and she got the results from it personally. You know, I bought the course when I was in college, and I ain't even read one. I ain't even watched one chapter of videos, and as a result, I haven't seen nothing from it. So you know, like, but like, and I recognize that I need to finish the things that I start. So you know, when you start something, finish it. Like I could have finished the course, and I still need to finish it. But you know, I. But at the end of the day, like my mindset had to change for me to be like, you know what? There's valuable things in this course, and if I actually put them to work, like it's not gonna happen overnight. But like if I actually sit there and do now, like you know, things, even if you just are learning on by your own mistakes, like you're gonna make mistakes, you're gonna do things wrong, but it's important to know that your mindset has to change from like L's and like sadness and failure to like it's a lesson. Like you know, I messed up here, but it's okay. Yeah, I missed this opportunity because I didn't follow up. It's okay. Yeah, I you know, even at work, like, oh, like my boss talks to me crazy and I didn't stand up for myself, and but it's okay. Like, do better next time. Like, there's always a next time. Assuming the Lord blesses everybody with another day. But you know, genuinely, hopefully, all of you have next time. So just make the most out of the time that you have, and understand that you know, just learn from it and keep improving.
What about you, Mr. Bean? I think you have a definite different view from us. We're millennials, but like you got that extra seasoning, that extra spice, and everything nice on top of that. So, Mr. Bean, talk to us about what it means to have that mindset so that you can be time rich.
Yeah, exactly. And so we have to first realize that um, it's not possible with an employee mindset. So let's start to identify that first. And so an employee mindset means that you're putting it in and you're literally, trading your time for money, and you're making somebody else's dream, or you're executing somebody else's vision, right? And so from an employee mindset, I mean, you can save money and you can invest that money and things of that nature, but it takes many, seasons. It takes a long time to do it. And so the next mindset shift that you want to have is, how soon do you want, how bad do you want to, if you have children, attend your son or daughter's games, go to their schools and meet with their teachers, right? Or volunteer at their schools. How soon do you want to just go travel overseas just because you want to? So the first thing you have to do is set a target to create a sense of urgency that will, encourage you or incentivize you to do the things that you need to do. From first, invest in yourself, right? If there's something wrong with you, from a health perspective, knock that out first, right? Because you can't do anything without your health. And I mean both mental and physical, right? So you get that stuff going. So invest in yourself first. And once you kind of shift your mindset to you, then it's not so hard to shift your mindset to, hey, wait a minute, I want to start doing things so that I do them once and I have things in motion, right? Or come up with a plan to have your money working for you, or to provide people opportunities to work for you in exchange, for compensation. I mean, you don't want, people to do things for free. But and you also, and we kind of saw that with this program, you want to have some resiliency. You have some problem with the technology. I had to switch to a third different device to get it to work. But you want to have some resiliency. You don't want to have a couple of stumbling blocks and then just give up, right? You should also adopt the mindset that there's only two outcomes. Either you learn something or you win. There's no losing, there's no failing. You know what I mean? You it might have been an expensive education, but you learned something from it, right? So you want to get really good at figuring out what the lesson was and moving on, or figuring out what you actually did to produce the win, whether it's income or something like that. So if you kind of balance on those two things, and you always want to do better than you did the day before. I hate to say it, but that's just once you get so far along and things are going real good, I mean, you kind of get complacent. Don't get complacent. Just say, hey, I want to always be a continuous learner. And so the reason why that you want to do that is define what your number is. Everybody has a number. Define what your freedom number is. This is a huge way to live the mindset shift. If your freedom number, let's just say it's $10,000 a month, that'll get you everything that you need. Be careful. Once you get that $10,000 a month, if you're blessed to receive more than that, have a plan to pass that on down the line. Don't get stuck because you held on to something that wasn't meant for you. And so just think about that, your freedom number in the form of a cup. Once your cup is full, be happy, be thankful, right? Have constant affirmations. But when it starts to overflow, have a plan to shift that someplace, to a loved one, to another entrepreneur, to somebody else, try to, to a nonprofit, something, but don't get stuck in the trap of getting a bigger cup. Because what do? You increase what you need, and you start to think too much about the money. And then I've always seen the people that do that, you have to catch yourself, they're the ones that lose it because they never get full. You see what I'm saying? And then eventually it falls apart. And so just make sure that you're careful about coming up with your freedom number, thinking of it in terms of a cup. When it's full, you're going to get overflow, and make sure that you have a plan that is not selfish to deal with that overflow. And trust me, you will get more, but get it that way instead of putting yourself in the way. All right.
That's good. So we're getting our mindset together. We understand that we want to be time rich. How important is it for accountability and to have a really good community around you? I know for myself, 2022 was a lot. And it was having people like Mr. Allen and having Nicolette that I could call and check in with once a week on Sundays and say, this is where our goals are. This is where we're trying to achieve. This is where we're going, which is what, allowed us to have that momentum of greatness. How can you all say that community has been important for you all reaching your goals and like really being to stay on the narrative that you can be Tom Rich?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, community is very important, especially if you're the first person like in your family or immediate circle to try to attempt things. Like a lot of people in my circle, they don't have businesses. They don't, they all work, which is nothing wrong with that. They're not throwing no shade to, my parents don't like that. But, they work, they don't have businesses. So it's like, when they saw me like struggling and trying to make my business happen, it's kind of like, they can say, oh, good job, Nicolette, but then they might buy a product or two, but also it's like, they can't understand because they've never been through it. So like that's why I think it's important to like go to different like networking events or like meetup events or like just join like different groups where you can, I'm not saying replace all your friends entrepreneurs, nothing like that, or people who want to retire early, but just like, having having that circle to support you, to be able to bounce ideas off, to be able to get ideas from. Like me and Jasmine bounce ideas off of each other all the time. So just making sure that, you do have people who when you're feeling down or like when you're discouraged because it didn't work out, you have people there to say, it's okay, keep going, like, don't worry about it, because sometimes it does get hard mentally to like, have to sacrifice so much and not see anything from it at the time. But eventually, if you keep going, you will. I'm sorry, the cat. You will see something from it.
All right. Yeah. And so for me, this kind of like the first part of my response has to do with the earlier question where it says what, kind of sacrifice did you have to make? And so I'm going to pick up off of what Nicolette said about, you may not want to surround yourself with all entrepreneurs. That was kind of the opposite for me. Whereas I had surrounded myself with a lot of people who had that employee mindset, or they were like W-2. And that slowed me down for many, many years. And so the sacrifice that I had to make is that I had to change circles and start to hang around more people that were more entrepreneurial minded, whether they did that through business or investing or whatever the case may be. And in some cases, I had to invest in myself to really get access to the people that really were doing it at a high level. I had to buy in to what you call a mastermind group. in order to network with some of these individuals and kind of take it to the next level. And in my case, sometimes I looked at it as, kind of like make up for lost time, but really it was just having that mindset shift to realize that, your wealth and your access to things is typically defined by the people that you spend the most time with. And I hate to say it, but that was a huge sacrifice. But it was only temporary, right? Because I did it. I had my freedom number in mind, and then I made these changes in terms of the group that I was in. For a time where I wasn't as available as I was. I wasn't, hanging out doing all those things. But then I was able to come back, and now they saw that they had an employee mindset because I could pop in anytime I wanted to, do whatever I wanted to, and I didn't have to worry about getting up in the morning to go to work, or I can't enjoy myself and because I have to, worry about being late for this or late for that. And so that was something that was very apparent in the beginning, but it was something that was necessary where you have to kind of change your surroundings in order to meet your new plan. And so, but it all starts with like a strategy. Make sure you have a strategy and you have some targets and some target dates and stuff like that set out there so that you you hold yourself accountable. From a community standpoint, what I realized is that there's a community that are people that are doing the activities and things to become time rich that I'm plugged into, and it's like this right here. It's very valuable. And then also there's the community, where I live or where I travel to that I'm able to plug in. But the way that I'm able to engage them is give them a little bit of information about how they can do things a little bit differently in terms of using their time to transition into more of a passive income. And then also some of the people that I'm in the same, business community with, we're also friends. And so it's kind of cool because we'll go someplace to do something and then we'll be able to have all the time that we need to have a good time. So it's kind of like once you get in this community, and then also when you engage in communities, you have resources now, not only your time, but you have money and then access to things. And so you can contribute to your community in ways that you wish had been done when you were coming up through, right? That someone would have came and spoken to you about this, or someone would have purchased books for you to read or purchased programs, gave you access to content for you to have so that you could, see if you want to, make the sacrifices to become time rich and to think about getting your revenue and your income in a way that is kind of similar to like a musical artist. This is where I first noticed it is when I started to see some of the things that happened to entertainers from our community in terms of not having the rights to their music versus the ones that did. And I think one of them is Elvis, and I can't think of his last name, but a lot of his stuff, his family still feeds off of that. Whereas there's some other people, like I think of and you guys might not know him. I'm kind of dating and even I didn't know him when he was popular, but Isaac Hayes, his son, Isaac Hayes III, kind of remembered that his dad had all this good music and people still play it to this day, but then he didn't have access to a lot of it. And so that money didn't fall through, to his family. And so his son created a social media platform to address things like that. And I won't go into that, but it's just something that once you do it, if you get the rights to it, then you can get some passively, or somebody that owns hotels. Once you get the management structure set, literally you're sleeping and money is still coming into the account. You don't know who the people are that paid for the room or what company paid for the room, but you're still having your income and your needs met from that. And so anyway, those are some of the things that I think about when it comes to the community. And the community is very important. It's very important to surround yourself with people that can feed you spiritually, mentally, emotionally, and then you can feed them, because that kind of generates a level of happiness that's real, and like and it just kind of takes having a good time and enjoying yourself to a whole new level. And then to kind of close out, just having the time to be able to do it. I think that once you experience it, you're not going to want to go back. So but community is number one. That's why I do it, to try to reduce the wealth gap of the Black community generation to generation. So what we're doing, I'm a little, like they said, I'm a little bit further along. So I'm doing it and leaving like a blueprint behind, in legacy. And then hopefully they would do the same, because they're going to learn and do things better and faster than I did when I was, their age. and then that'll like improve the blueprint, and then we can go back to not being looked upon as the last, and this and that, because we'll be taking advantage of our gifts and leaving them for like generations to come.
Yes. And one thing that I love that we all said here is just the value of understanding we can't do it by ourselves. Like, if you have a business, you have to have customers. That means that you're not in business for just you. Even if you go to work every day, that job is solving a problem for X amount of people. And when you think about you being time rich or time positive for your family, or for you to be able to enjoy the life that you love, you don't want to be the only person that gets to have all the fun by yourself. You're going to want your wife free, or you're going to want your husband free, or you want your kids to be able to live and to work and to do and to think and to learn at their own capacity. Like, it becomes fun because you're like, who can I set free next? Who can I get to the next level next, right? And so it becomes a very unselfish like thing to even think about when you think about being time rich. It's a very unselfish thing. You just want the people around you to have the very best life possible. And so I think that comes with being clear, that comes from having a growth mindset, it comes from great community, and it comes from understanding and valuing your time. So I do think we have enough time for like a couple more questions. Um, I want to know, like, why do you all value time so much? I have my own reasons for valuing time, but why do you value time? Why is time so important? Why is it important to take action based off time?
Time is definitely important, because time is important to me just because, like, well, I'll say the things that I value a lot with my time. Like, I really value spending time with my loved ones, like my friends and my family. So, like, for me to be able to like go to my parents' house and just hang out, or go on a vacation, like, I would love to take vacations with my friends and stuff. But we got jobs, so just so one day I hope to, like, not saying, I mean, I'm gonna be honest. Everybody cannot be an entrepreneur. Like, society could not support that technically, because everybody, somebody needs employees. So I'm not saying like, oh, if you're an employee, you're wrong. But what I'm saying is have, like, know that there's more to you. Like, there, it's okay to want more. It's okay to like do things you like, outside of work. It's okay to get a job that has 12 weeks of paid vacation, so you can at least enjoy, some time, or I mean, some time to yourself and things like that. Like, take care of yourself. But I definitely value time, just because, like, when I don't like rushing, or like, I'm a procrastinator at heart. So it's just like, when I just have the time to, like, oh, wake up and like eat, make myself a nice meal, and just like do my hair, put on something nice to wear, and just like relax, or like, just go somewhere. Or I want to go to the mall, or I want to go grocery shopping, I want to cook. I can do that. Like, instead of having to, like, oh, I'm so busy, like, doing these projects and doing this and that, like, I can't do it. Like, I just like being able to, you know enjoy the life that we've been given. So that is why time is important to me, just so I can, spend time, on my own health and my own well-being, and also, like, spending time with my loved ones. So, we never know when somebody's last day. So I would hate to be like, dang, like, I never got to see my parents, like, because I was working all the time, working real hard, and now, like, they're gone. Like, I want to be able to cherish time with my parents, my brother, my friends, um, as long as I can. So I love to spend time with my loved ones. So that's what's important to me.
So, as we talked about earlier, time is the most valuable resource. So once you realize that you can't get it back, once it's gone, it's gone. Now, when it comes from the standpoint of being time rich, I tried to bring out the point earlier was having some technology issues, but there's this notion that you should be able to do things because you want to, not because you have to. So that fits within the employee mindset from the standpoint of you can still put in the work to invest in yourself and figure out, for instance, how to get rental properties and hire a good property management company, or just minimize, your the effort that that you put in. and you can still work a W-2 job. It's just that you're doing it because you want to, not because you have to. So I think that you're right. There are people that want to be employed, but they can also be investors. They don't have to be entrepreneurs from the standpoint of business owners or owning multiple businesses, right? A serial entrepreneur, but they can, invest their monies in things that give them kind of that security, kind of that backup. So that and then also you could pick something like housing, that no matter what the economy is looking like, people still need, adequate housing. So I'm not saying that's the only thing, but it's a good thing, and you can still do that. And so you could have a couple of rental properties, and it's bringing you in the money that you need to cover your bills, so that if the economy affects you, it doesn't affect you to the point to where you can't provide for your family. So I do think that there's always opportunities for people to to still have the W-2 job, but then to have a backup plan, so to speak. So that's another way to think about your time. If you know that ultimately you have access to your time, if you get laid off, you have access to your time if that job gets to be too hard on your family. Oftentimes some of the jobs that I've had over the years were very demanding, and it was very hard to shut that off, when I first got home. But when I first got home, I was dad. When I first got home, I was a lot of different things. And so it made it tough. So once I flipped it to where it was like, you know what, I don't have to go back tomorrow. I mean, if I don't want to, then that just took all that stress off. Because when I came home, I really could act like, dad, and all those different things, that I had to be. And so time is something that once you get access to it to where you can have discretionary use of it, that's when you're going to get addicted, right? And you still may have that W-2 job, and do what I suggested earlier, which is come up with a passive income, so you got a backup plan. Or you may at some point get rid of that job and say, you know what, I want to go to the beach, or I want to go and I want to go hang out with with the wife, with the husband, boyfriend, girlfriend, whatever the case may be, and then enjoy the time that you have left, because tomorrow's not promised. And I want to go back to Jasmine's good friend about, ain't none of us getting out of this alive. So we're gonna have to do something to like leave a legacy, and make sure that our time wasn't spent in vain, that we use our gifts to be a resource and a value to our community, to our families, and that they could say, he enjoyed every minute of it. I can, when they're talking about you after you're gone, they could say, I can't think of a time where Alan wasn't there. If he could be, I can't think of a time where if I really need something, he didn't help out. And I also can't think of a time where he didn't try to encourage me to take my time seriously, so that I can enjoy every last minute of it with myself and with those around me. And to have the community echo that, after you're gone. I think some people need to always, and this is something that made me turn the corner, is I started thinking with the end in mind. And when I started thinking with the end in mind, then I saw, what I was capable of, and the strengths and the gifts that I already had. And I just had to realize that I had to plug into the community to make it happen, because you can't do it on your own. You have everything that you do, plan it, strategize it around the fact that it's always two or more. If you can't get it to two or more, something's wrong, and you honestly need to figure out what that is, because we were designed to like work in groups and teams, and you're going to be a lot happier that way. And I think that once you think like that, you'll see your time as something that's very precious, and as something that's not to be wasted.
I think one of the like a lot of people have read the Rich Dad Poor Dad book, and
Mhm.
I think my eyes were open when I read that book years ago. When the rich dad was basically saying how one of his employees wanted a raise, and he was like, I don't have to pay him more, and I'm not going to. And, he's not going to go anywhere because he's afraid of not having income. So it's like, I feel like nobody should be in the position to where your job, because a lot of jobs out here, I've had friends whose jobs disrespect them, disrespect all the employees, like where your employer literally should like people, everybody should be in a position where their employer has to respect everybody, because if you don't, you will have no business, because all your employees will be moving on. So it's like, people, I think everybody should be in a place where like they can demand respect, and they can demand to be paid their worth from their employer, because guess what, I don't have to be here. I choose to be here because I enjoy what I do, or because like I like the benefits or whatever your motivation is for staying there. You know, also like if your manager is cussing you out, you do not have to stay there and get cussed out every day just because you need to bring home some money. Like, I really encourage people to work towards getting to a place where you can, demand respect from your employer. And so, if if you do need to find another job, you're not afraid. Oh, what if it takes me 3 months? Like, you have your passive income coming in to where those 3 months you're already covered. All your basic bills are covered. So you can do your best to find the job that fits you and that fits your needs, and not just settle for something just because you need to find a job ASAP. So, um,
Okay. I love what everyone said. My perspective of being time rich, time positive, and like why it's so valuable. I truly believe that everybody has a dream. Everybody has this ideal way in which they would want to live, or they want to be remembered, or they want to impact the world. I believe that every person has that, right? And I'm sorry, y'all. I'm definitely pushing through some illnesses today. But if everybody has a dream and you think that you're going to be alive for the rest of your life in order to get that dream done, you don't know the day nor the hour in which you could be called home, and whatever home is for you. And so when you think of today is Friday, and like I'm pretty sure it's getting close to the time for us to wrap up, which means it's 8 p.m. CST. What did you contribute to society today that would have you be remembered for the dreams in which you had on the inside?
Mhm.
And are you somewhat procrastinating or not believing in yourself, or you think that there's something else that you need to do in order to get started? Like, this conversation was to let you know that time rich is available to all of us, especially when we have the mindset. But also, if we never think it's possible, it won't get done. We simply won't take that action. So I'm proud of everybody today on this amazing stream. I'm pretty sure there are going to be some people on the replay. But today's conversation was just geared towards you understanding that there is a life of abundance in which we all can tap into. That means that we're time rich, time positive, and our time is working for us and not against us. With that being said, Alan and Nicolette, tell the people where they can find y'all, and where they can come and support y'all in any of the businesses and informations that they have. So go ahead, shout yourself out.
my Instagram is at Nicolette Cachet, which is my name, NicoletCache. And you can go to my website, powerhouseplaybook.com. That is where I house my financial literacy information. And then also the YouTube channel, Powerhouse Playbook, and Instagram, Powerhouse Playbook. There's Powerhouse Playbook on everything. So that is where you can find me at.
Okay, all right. You can find me on LinkedIn under my name. Just search for Alan Bean, and then also you can shoot me an email at Alan ALAN at bgebuyers.com. That's bgebuyers.com. And then you can also go to the website bgebuyers.com and look me up there as well. And yeah, just looking forward to like contacting everybody. And a lot of the stuff that I do moving forward are going to be like real live deals that'll be made available to the people that kind of get to know us through these types of live events. And then we have follow-up conversations. And so that if I have a deal and I can bring you in on that deal, and then you can get some education live. And then because a lot of times when it comes to entrepreneurship, what kind of separates oftentimes, if there is a dividing line between somebody with an employee mindset and entrepreneurial mindset, is how you think and view risk, the unknown, right? If you have just like a deathly fear of the unknown, you're probably going to gravitate more towards like a W-2 employee type job in terms of what you do with the majority of your time. I mean, you can't invest your money, become time rich. Don't confuse the two. But then if you are a risk taker and you take risk and you realize that when you invest in something, and from like a money or a time standpoint, you have to come to grips with the fact that you could lose it all. But what did I say? we don't lose. We either we learn or we win. You see what I'm saying? If you can commit to that, then you can move towards the dealing with the type of risk that you'll see being an entrepreneur, right? If you can't, then you'll gravitate back towards being an employee, which is nothing wrong with that. Um, because when it comes to your money and stuff, you might want to do like a low risk investment when it comes to it, just, investing in a, in a bond or, like an interest bearing checking account or something like that. So you just have to think what your risk appetite is. And so that's one of the first things that I like to talk to people about when they follow up with me, is going to have that conversation first so they could see, wait a minute, is this something that it might be my default, but can I adopt or get some different behaviors to where I could take more risk and then move into more profitable investments and business ventures. So anyway, so that's why I like to start with people, but reach out to me and I'd love to connect. And I think we would all like to expand our network because, as you can see, we do stuff in collaboration, and I would recommend all people do that. And we also do stuff with people in the community where we support other, Black-owned businesses, and we're just really trying to get that ecosystem going to where we could be our own banks. So you don't have to go to the mainstream and get turned down. You could come to us where, we're going to hear what you have to say, and oftentimes we're coming from that background, so we might be able to give you some wise counsel on things that you might not have considered. So that's all I have, guys.
All right. Well, in marketing fashion, can Nicolette and Alan, can y'all smile so I can do a picture? Okay, 1 second. All right. I think we get it. I think it got it.
All right.
Yes, it got it. So thank y'all. This was our first episode. There'll be many more installments. I do have some church announcements. No, December 18th, we will be in what is the city? Give me one
Fort
second.
Worth.
Give me 1 second. Fort
Fort
Worth.
Worth.
Yes, I'm going to the flyer right now. Yes, I have it. I want to give the people the exact address. Did I not post it on my Facebook? Is it not posted on my Facebook? It should have been. I'll tell you the truth. All right. It's going to be in Fort Worth, December 18th, and it's going to be from 2 to 6 p.m. And we are going to be talking about big business state of mind. So go ahead, follow us there. And then we hope to see y'all in Fort Worth, December 18th. And then we are just bringing in the new year, and it's going to be great. So I'll talk to everybody soon. Thank you all, and have a great night.
Bye.
Bye,
Bye.
everybody.